Hello everyone and welcome back to Cyndi Podcast. If you are new here, my name is Cyndi. First and foremost, I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to you for being here. And thank you for viewing and supporting my channel by leaving likes, subscribing, and commenting. So today I'm going to share with you a few techniques for protecting yourself from the bad energy around you. We've all experienced bad emotions or sentiments at some point of our lives. Simply say negativity is an unavoidable part of life, and everyone will come into contact with it at some point. This does not imply, however, that you give up and allow yourself to be subject to its merciless wrath. So before I get into today's video, make sure you like, subscribe, and do not forget to hit the bell icon to receive notification when I post new video. So let's begin the video. If you find yourself surrounded by bad energy that is coming from colleagues, spouse, friends, or family member, you must learn how to shield yourself without dealing with the source of negative energy. We may not be able to define it, but you are certainly experience a sense of negative energy, like negative people, negative events, or even your mentality may all contribute to this. Both your mental and physical well-being may be badly infected. The more negativity there is, the more negative there will be. Your well-being and happiness depend on learning how to handle negative energy. It is tough to cope with people who dwell on their problems instead of looking for ways to improve their situation. For some people, petty parties are a way of boosting their self-esteem, so they invite others to attend. To help someone, you must be careful not to get emotionally invested in their problems. And it is important to know when to draw the line. Negative individuals tend to spend more time thinking about more of their issues than finding a solution to their difficulties. It normally sounds like whining, pointing fingers, and expressing unhappiness about the situation. Maintaining a good attitude requires concentration on developing effective situation. Negative individuals are as dependent on the presence of conflict in their life as they are on the presence of oxygen. Stay cheerful and happy, no matter how enticing the bait may be or may seem. If you find yourself doing things for other people that they could and should be doing for themselves, you are not assisting, but rather supporting their behavior. Stop attempting to repair everyone and everything. When we carry individuals or attempt to repair people who were not damaged in the first place, we might unknowingly generate negative energy. Caring for others is impossible without first taking care of your own needs. Love yourself, take care of yourself, and focus on your happiness are not selfish or vain actions. When you are confronted with negative energy, learning and practicing self-care can help you remain grounded and powerful as a result. It is important to underestimate the danger of negative energy. It may have and learn how to defend yourself and how to do it intelligently. Learn how to respond rather than react. The choice of reaction is based on the mentality, clarity, and emotional strength, and is made to achieve a certain goal, whereas a response is a reflex that is triggered by fear-based survival instincts and cannot be controlled. Avoid impulse emotions and learn how to respond wisely when confronted with negative energy. The truth that you are better off without certain individuals in your life is an unfortunate reality. Negative energy is one of the most harmful energies on the planet, and it will prevent you from achieving your life goal if you are exposed to it. Anyone who tries to tear you down, even whether it's a family member, someone you consider a friend, has to know to respect your limits. By establishing boundaries and separating yourself from people when necessary, you may loosen the amount of drama that ensures. Therefore, take a deep breath and create some space for yourself. If you are unable to detach yourself, another great strategy for establishing boundary is to inquire about how a negative individuals intend to resolve the issue about which they are complaining. Often they will either put a stop to the conversation or nudge it in a more positive direction for a little period of time. Another method to protect yourself is to react consciously to all of the bad energy that is presented in your environment. An ego-driven reaction is a spontaneous, unplanned emotional outburst. Your intuition may arrive in a split second, providing insight or leading you to act. After having an unpleasant interaction with someone, being enraged or annoyed is a sign that you have reacted rather than responded thoughtfully to their comments. Responding deliberately allows you to have a sense of calmness and control over the circumstance. As a general rule, do not respond to someone who has a bad attitude by berating them. Maintain dignity. Do not stoop to their level. Walking away from stupidity with your head up high is the truest kind of courage. Always follow your heart. We all need to learn how to express ourselves without guilt to avoid absorbing the energy of others. Your authenticity suffers and your self-esteem plummets when you do not speak out about the things that matter to you. You can begin to really express yourself and let go of all of the guilt. You will notice that your clarity increases dramatically, helping you become the best version of yourself possible. Fear is a common reason people avoid expressing themselves. As a result of being thoughtful, and that's how we feel irrelevant, we may have formed a defensive mechanism in which we suppress our genuine feelings. As children, many of us were taught that if we did something right, we would be rewarded, even if it was not exactly what we desire in the long run. There is a screw of suppressed emotion in each of us. Depression and anxiety are brought on by this predicament, which is difficult to overcome. As soon as we can let go of our fears of being seen as we really are, we can begin to enjoy life to its fullest. No matter how much we try, we will never be able to influence how others see us or behave around us. We may relieve ourselves from the weight of blaming ourselves for someone else's action by remembering this universal truth. We can avoid absorbing the energy of someone else if we do so. Keep in mind that you should not take anything personally. We do not need anybody else's approval. We often seek external acceptance in our life which is why we begin to absorb the energy of other people to feel validated. Frustration might set in when we do not get approval we be looking for. Rather, we stop to succumb to the energy of others when we learn to love and accept ourselves unconditionally, believing in our intuition and having faith in our own ability. Instead of draining ourselves, we must be loyal to ourselves and let our individuality develop unhindered by the judgments of others. It is important to consider other people's perspective on occasion, but we also need to be mindful of our own reaction to our others' perspective. As soon as we start taking action and staying focused on ourselves, we do not give a second thought to what other people think. Because we are self-assured and confident. To fully love yourself, you have to do it from the inside out. It is important to surround yourself with people who serve as constant reminder of who you are. You may want to avoid the individuals that show you the unpleasant side of yourself, but it is only though confronting those elements of ourselves that we really learn to embrace and love ourselves. As a result, we are able to shield ourselves from potentially damaging energy and start attracting more uplifting vibrations. Additionally, anytime it seems that things are going badly, you may deflect their attention with a lighthearted subject. Occasionally, even most subjects may set off a person's bad mental attitude. This is not good for anyone's health. If you find yourself in a similar situation and the person you are chatting with is fixate on a subject that is wearing you down, keep in mind that their negative emotion may be too complex to address in a single conversation. You may introduce a new subject to brighten the atmosphere, like laughter, common connection, personal success, and other pleasant news are suitable themes for a light talk. Limit the discussion to things that the individual is passionate about. To maintain a good mental and physical health, you must safeguard your energy, which is directly linked to the level of happiness. Our daily lives are filled with self-giving, like at work, our friends, our family. We need to acknowledge that our needs are just as valuable and significant as anyone else. Protect your energy. Give yourself the gift of truly healthy headspace. Rather of focusing on the negative aspect of a situation, concentrate on the positive aspect instead. Your emotional state is mostly a function of your attentional habits and where you choose to direct it. Negative emotion and tension are more likely to arise in those who solely thinks about the challenges they are facing. The development of a feeling of self-efficacy occurs when you concentrate on activities that may make a difference in your circumstance. This results in positive emotions and reduced stress. When dealing with negative individuals, the same idea applies to fixating on how stressful and tough they are. Simply add to your pain by giving them control over you. So instead of focusing on how troublesome this individual is, think about how you are going to deal with their behavior in a good way. This puts you in the driver's seat, which makes you more successful and reduce the amount of stress you experience. Emotional detachment is not always easy, but it might be exactly what you've been seeking. So do not be afraid to try. Maintaining emotional separation is essential to avoid stress. Asserting the load of other people's failures on yourself is vital to your emotional well-being and personal happiness. Your level of self-esteem is directly correlated to your level of self-respect. To be an excellent life manager, you must work internally, which means you must recognize that pleasure and success originate from the inside. When things go wrong, individuals with a pessimistic outlook prefer to place the blame on others or outside factors. If your sense of contentment and self-worth are depending on the opinion of others, you are no longer in command of your own happiness. Because of this, it is important you be aware of it. When people have high self-esteem and are proud of their accomplishment, they do not let others' shallow views or negative remarks dull their glow. This is what matters. Your knowledge and your ability to use that knowledge in a particular way. It is possible to help some individuals by being positive role models, but it's impossible to help everyone. Recognize the difference and you will be able to keep your balance. Avoid being a victim of energy vampires, manipulators, and emotional blackmailers by desperately striving to manage something over which you have no control, namely other people's behavior. To put it in another way, if you are hoping for a long-term change in a loved one's behavior, you should give up hoping for such a change to happen. It is up to them, not you, to make a difference. Anytime you feel the need for them to alter, regardless of the cause, the only way to get this individual to alter their way is to tell them exactly how you feel and why you need them to. Now, it is time to let go. It's time to let them go if they do not want to. It is generally not a good idea to attempt to change someone else. To live without them, you must either embrace them for who they are or reject them completely. It may come out harsh, but this is not the case. When people are urged to change, they often resist and continue to be the way they are. No matter how much you study how to deal with various type of people, the time and energy that genuinely toxic individuals need will never be worth it. People that are toxic add unneeded complication, conflict, and stress to your life. To be able to detach yourself from the toxic individuals, you must first understand who they are and what their character are. The difficulty is to distinguish between individuals who are merely bothersome or difficult and those who are actually poisonous. Here are 9 drainers that should be avoided at all costs as precautionary measures. The first emotional drainer on the list is the judgmental. Judgmental people are eager to point out what they consider to be appropriate and inappropriate behavior. These people have an uncanny ability to make you feel bad about the things you care about the most. A judgmental person's natural tendency is not to appreciate or learn from the distinction between themselves or others. As a result, it is advisable to avoid being judgmental individuals and focus on being yourself rather than pretending to be someone else. Toxic individuals like criticizing, gossiping about others, and they rarely have anything positive to say about them. They take advantage of other people's shortcomings and improve their own self-esteem, or to conceal their feeling of envy. It does not matter whether they make critical remarks about your looks or attitude in front of you or behind your back. This might harm your mental health. Next emotional drainer on the list, the gossiper. Gossip is a harmful activity that creates mistrust and animosity, so avoid it. Preventing yourself from telling an upsetting story or thinking negatively about someone, consider why are you discussing these things with them. Despite our best effort, we all slip up from time to time. However, it is important that you endures to maintain your authenticity at all times. Gossipers get a kick out of making fun of the misery of others. Talking about other people's misery is a waste of time when there's so many wonderful aspects of life and so many fascinating individuals to learn from instead. It is extremely petty and immature. People who gossip often demonstrate a lack of discipline and disregard for others' emotion. If you are harboring ill will against a person, try talking to them about it to see if you can find a solution. While gossiping with others show a lack of maturity and willingness to face obstacles, doing so reveals your honesty. Secondly, gossiping distinguishes your credibility. Indulging in gossip conveys the message that you do not regard the privacy of others. The next emotional drainer on our list, the manipulator. People are often controlled without realizing it until it's too late. You will know you're being manipulated when you begin to behave in a way that benefits the other person than yourself. The fact that they are so approachable makes them potentially difficult to deal with. The reason why I say this is because knowing what makes you happy, what makes you laugh, and what you find amusing, they may use this information to accomplish a hidden objective of their own. Manipulators claim to understand what's best for you. Those who manipulate you are always on the lookout for anything they can get from you. And if you look back on your contact with them, you realize that they were very little giving involved. To influence you, they will go to great lengths to acquire your trust. So be careful. So the next emotional drainer, the victim. You may have come across a person who is self-pity and professes to be a victim of circumstances, people, and events. These individuals have a somewhat different perspective on life, believing that the world is out there to sabotage and intimidate them. At first, you may feel sorry for them, but that sympathy may quickly turn to resentment and anger. In general, people with a victim mentality feel that awful things happen to them all the time, and they will continue to do so. External elements and situations are to be held responsible. They never own up to their mistakes and instead look for someone or anything else to blame. It is because they do not take responsibility that they produce all kinds of excuses which means they never get over their problems. They do not care about finding a solution, and their action create the appearance that they like the turmoil. As a result, even if you offer to assist them, you will not get much of a reaction. They engage in a lot of self-deprecating thoughts. As a result of this, they have a negative outlook on life. Therefore, individuals may attempt to place blame on others for failing to care significantly about their situation. They also lack self-confidence since they believe that they are not good enough. As a result, they will not put in the effort to get their desired job since they question themselves. So they have made themselves to believe that they have no control over anything, and so they have given up on changing things. Not only do they frustrate others, but they also frustrate themselves. The next emotional drain on our list, the envious. Envy is generally an unconscious feeling in the majority of individuals, although it may arise as a result of being fixated on another person's triumph and wanting to pull them down as a result. In the eyes of those who are envious, the view from the other side is almost always superior to the one you have of your own. What I mean by this is, when you are standing within your fence and gazing across your neighbor's yard, their grass seems to be greener. To put it in another way, the expression is implied that things seem nicer from afar. It is easy to see the flaws in your yard because you are surrounded by them. There are less obvious flaws in the grass when seen afar. As implied by the saying, greener grass does not exist. If you believe it does, you are only misinterpreting the meaning of the phrase. Even if the grass appears greener somewhere else, it is always not the case. Jealousy of another's grass is pointless since we do not know what's under the surface. In the end, we have the power to make our own grass appear the way we want it and make it the place where we want to spend our time, relax, and be secure. Work, understanding, mutual respect, and pure goals filled with love are things that may help us nourish it. Compassion, patience, care, and open communication are the best fertilizer we can use to keep it healthy and attractive. People who are jealous of others are unable to get the satisfaction from their situation. Even if something fantastic happens to them, this is because they compare themselves to the rest of the world instead of focusing on their happiness. A lot of times, in the presence of a jealous individual, they teach you to downplay your own achievement. There are significant differences between there's a difference between the feeling of envy and jealousy. While the terms are often used interchangeable, there are significant distinctions. Unlike other emotions, jealousy is more active and conscious emotion that might occur as a result of feeling of insecure. However, when it comes to a natural state, envy tends to be vague and unconscious. When it comes to destroying what it does not have, it can be passive aggressive while remaining focused on doing so. When someone is jealous of someone else's possession, they may be envious of their own inability to get them. Depending on the circumstance, The envious individual may subsequently result to verbal and physical attack on the object of their resentment. When someone has low self-esteem, it is because they have been told from an early age or some point in their life that they're not good enough. Envious people are prone to compare and despair, which leads them to believe they are lacking in comparison to others. Therefore, they strive to bring down whatever thing or person they think is causing them to experience this specific problem. A person's sense of self-worth seems to be based on the satisfaction of others. As a result, they look to others for fulfillment. They always searching for ways to replace the void in their own self-esteem. The envious individuals might make the other person feel awful about themselves to make them feel better about themselves. The envious person seem to need a piece of the other person's energy to feel whole and effective, even though it is a very fragile approach to improve their self-esteem. It's possible for those who are jealous to engage in rivalry behavior as well. Then there is the fact that they seem to enjoy seeing someone else going through hardship. So the next emotional drainer is the arrogant. There is a significant distinction between confident and arrogance. Confidence inspires others, but arrogance intimidates others. Arrogant people believe they are always right and that they are better than everyone else, regardless of the circumstance. They will never acknowledge your self-assurance because it will get in the way of their arrogance. You might stay away from arrogant individuals because they see everything you achieve as a personal challenge. Arrogance is a false sense of security, and that it conceals significant anxiety. In comparison to the typical individual, an arrogant person are less productive, more disagreeable, and more likely to suffer from mental issue. So the next emotional drainer, the seventh one, is the self-absorbed. People who are too focused on themselves tend to perceive the world through a prism of their own interest and experience. They make the mistake of assuming that what interests them is also interesting to others. Self-absorbed individuals have a way to lower your spirit because of the emotional distance they maintain from others. As soon as you spend time with a self-absorbed individual, you begin to feel entirely isolated from the rest of the world. Since there is no genuine links between them and anybody else, this is how it works for them. To enhance their self-esteem, you only a pawn in their game. So the next emotional drainer is the twisted. Some individuals are toxic because they have poor intentions and get a kick out of seeing other people suffer. The only reason they are here is to harm, to make you feel awful, to obtain anything from you. Otherwise, they do not care about you. The main advantage of this kind is that you can detect their goals immediately, which allow you to remove them from your life much more rapidly than with other type. The final emotional drainer on the list is the temperamental. Some individuals are unable to manage their own feelings at all. They will lash out at you and blame your action on their own feelings, leading them to believe that you are to blame for their sorrow and suffering. It is tough to get rid of a person who are temperamental because you are sympathetic to their dilemma as a result of their inability to maintain control over their emotional state. Temper will flare when the situation calls for it, and you should avoid being in their emotional dumping grounds if at all possible. While you may impose limits on others, doing so requires forethought and intentional action of your own. If you let things unfold as they will, you will almost certainly find yourself in the middle of an unpleasant talk all the time. Establishing boundaries and deciding when and where to confront someone who is tough to deal with might help you keep things under control. Negativity may be avoided most effectively by dedicating some time of your own well-being. You do not have to constantly put others first just because no one has ever placed you first. In the event that you have to live or work with someone who is negative, make certain that you get enough alone time and relax and recuperate. Such idea may be draining for days, weeks, months, or even years, depending on how severe they are. The objective of a negative person, unfortunately, is something to drive you nuts and bring you down to their level of thinking so that they do not have to suffer in silence any longer. In order to maintain a positive outlook in the face of negativity, you must take care of yourself. Take care of your own well-being first and foremost, since you do not influence their action. Make sure you are surrounded by individuals who lift you up and not bring you down. In a negative environment, it is difficult to perceive the silver lining. Do your best to surround yourself with supportive, upbeat people who can assist you in maintaining your balance. When you are around positive people, they have the ability to elevate your spirits, just as when you are around negative people, they may have the opposite effect. Recognize and express gratitude to the person who have contributed to your well-being. Consistently spending time with those you care about. Let go of anybody who has a bad impact on your thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Just simply move on. Allowing anybody or anything to stand in your way of achieving the best version of yourself is not an option. You can also use positive imagery. Think of yourself as being surrounded by a protecting shield. Feel the positive energy radiating out of your body and around you. When you are with someone who drains your energy, use your imagination to create the feeling you want to have. Because it is a practice, this imagery technique is effective. It takes a lot of practice to get good at something and practice how you want to see yourself, and your mind changes how your mind thinks. Productivity is also a good way to fight off negative thoughts. Negative individuals have the capacity to bring out the worst if we do not exercise caution while dealing with them. Consider yourself accountable when you stray from your normal behavior. Regardless of your circumstance, you must resolve to maintain emotional self-control and steadfast adherence to your values. Aside from that, When you accomplish anything, you will feel better about yourself. And this will instantly bring out the positive side of your personality. It is difficult to realize sometimes the only negative person is you. It is sometimes your own negativity that caused you the most pain. If your inner critic is making an attempt to get the best of you, consider giving up all or even some of the thoughts and observation that makes you feel awful for the remainder of the day. These negative ideas are unnecessary. They have only ever given you a fictitious self that suffers for no cause. The fact of the matter is that you are responsible for your own life. Once you have come to this conclusion, you will realize that you have choices and control over how others affect you. If being around a certain individual makes you feel a particular way, avoid them. Or it's totally up to you to care of yourself when you are with them. So you should do so immediately. The manner they are acting may irritate you for whatever reason. It is your responsibility to look after your own emotional needs, whether or not they are deliberating, provoking you. Take a deep breath and remember, nothing's more important than your own mental well-being and ability to function normally. If you have to stay away from a few friends or take a vacation to get away from this negativity, then do it. Achieve the person you want to be by focusing on your aura and mental state. There will be some who attempt to prevent you from achieving your full potential, but they are the same individuals that should be evicted from your life. True friends will not stop you from becoming the better version of yourself. With that being said, I really hope you found this video to be informative and beneficial. Thank you so much for watching. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next video.